A couple of big commitments coming up here just very, very shortly. Wanted to kind of discuss those as they relate to the Texas Longhorns in the 2026 class. And also, Cody, you put in some future casts today, as usual, on a Futurecast Friday. Two players that are going to be committing here shortly. We have Deari Simeon, who I think probably just right after the show here, the defensive tackle from Richland, New Jersey. He'll be committing, was it at 5 Eastern? So 4 Central. And then we have Chase Calakut, of course, from North Shore. He is going to be committing at halftime of his overtime 7 on 7 playoff game, where you can watch that actually after you get done here. You can go over to YouTube to the overtime 7 page. That'll be at halftime of his game. I think we're expecting that around 5:30 our time or so, 5:30 or 6. It'll just kind of depend, I guess.
Well, the Simeon announcement will be about 4. I think that's going to be on Twitter or something, and then the Calakut one will be at 3:55. That's when his game starts. So, however halftime of that works, it's probably going to be around 4:15 or 4:10 ish or something like this. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But Calakut and Deari Simeon, both guys that I did not Futurecast to Texas. Calakut's been one that I've had in as Texas since the 27th of January and changed it to Georgia literally this week, of course, on the heels of Jason and you in Indianapolis and conversing and hearing Chase Calakut talk to, well, Jason and the Georgia guys. And the sentiment being, it sounds like it's flowing towards Georgia. Now, if you do go out and look on the grand scheme of like all the, the crystal balls and the projections and stuff, there's still people that are riding the pine projecting Texas. I switched it to Georgia. I don't know what to think here, Alex, because I have like Calakut to me is kind of like how like Colin Simmons has been to you in years past and DK Moore and things like that. I love Calakut. I just think like this is going to be a guy that can play everywhere. He can play nickel. He can play safety. Probably can play a little bit of corner, kind of like a Nick Emenwari, a little more athletic even, like from a fluidity stance. Nick Emenwari from South Carolina was drafted this year.
Is he? Do you think Calakut's as fast as Emenwari?
No, that's why I said when I said athletic, I said as fluid, because I think Emenwari is a better pure athlete as far as like testing, but Calakut I think is more smooth and fluid in playing football as an athlete. So,
and just moving around and just doing basketball dunks and backflips and all this. He
just makes everything look like easy. And that's, I've said it before, I'll say it, like I think when you watch a safety that makes things look like smooth and effortless, like there's only a few names that come to mind. So I put Georgia in for Chase Calakut. That's going to happen obviously first. Maybe it has happened by the time you've watched this. And if it's Texas at this point and I'm just talking about Georgia, then slap the camera and say, hey, Cody, you're wrong. But I think it'll be Georgia. The next one is Deari Simeon, like you said, the defensive tackle from Richland, New Jersey, 12th ranked defensive tackle in America. Put Ohio State here. This has been one. He took visits to Michigan, Penn State. He's at Texas 2 weeks ago. Then he's at Ohio State this last week. Texas is just filled up at the defensive tackle position. We've heard a couple of other names like James Johnson, of course, Kendall Gerville. I think that's right. I got somebody hit me in the chat the other night and they were like, you're wrong. I was like, all right. Kendall Gerville. So that would give them 5 if they get Kendall. And then that would be like hypothetically a 6th if James Johnson was there, but I don't think James Johnson will end up being a Longhorn. So Deari Simeon to Ohio State is where I went. He stays in the Northeast. Texas was the only non-Northeast, the non-Big Ten school he took an official visit at. It was, like I said, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan. So I'm going to keep him in the Northeast with Ohio State. And I just put that in, what the hell was that, last night? Day before? Last night. The next one, I mean, we'll talk about this, Jake Kru. Jake Kru, the edge rusher at IMG Academy. You saw him this last week. I saw him a year ago. I think the one thing, if you were to put one word to explain who Jake Kru is, the edge rusher from IMG Academy, who's now the 3rd-ranked edge rusher in America, and that's pre-post Rivals 5-star event updates, is just Marauder. I just think this kid's got tons of energy. He's a high motor kid. I know Jason wrote up a piece the other day that said that, people have conversed him in the same conversation, same sentence as Colin Simmons as far as him getting off the ball.
Which is getting a little out of pocket. But
out of pocket. It is.
Yeah. I can understand you saying, you look at him and say, okay, little bit undersized, quick as a hiccup off the ball, right? Just elite first step, but he's not. I mean, I just always said that Colin Simmons is just a pipe bomb. You can't.
This kid's not a pipe bomb. That's the thing. This kid's not like. I don't think you can look at him and say, "Go get the quarterback now." He's going to do it. He's going to try his darndest. He's going to be quick, but I don't think he's got the magic touch.
Yeah, and Catch. I was talking with Catch about this the other day, just on the boards, going back and forth. He's like, "Who's the last tweener in the mold of Jake Kru that Texas or that Oklahoma's had that panned out?" And I was like, well, he's not the same type of player, but whenever Oklahoma got Nick Bonito, he was considered a tweener, and he's turned out to be, they ended up using him kind of outside linebacker, and that's what he's played in the NFL. He's actually been good in the
really
NFL. He's grown. But I went back and looked at his rivals' recruiting profile from high school. He came in weighing 200 pounds to Oklahoma. So, you look at Kru, I think he's 235 right now?
Listed at 230, yeah.
Yeah, I think he said at the 5-star that he was 235. So maybe he's already a little bit more substantial than that. But
I mean, he's as big as Bonito is now.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's right. I can't see Nick, because Kru is really not that big a dude.
Yeah.
I can't believe that Nick Bonito is doing what he's doing at the NFL when he's that size. When I'm like, dude, that guy's undersized here at the Rivals 5-star.
Well, interesting thing, man. A year ago, he was ranked 245th before the Rivals 5-star. Coming now a year later, he's 28th in America. And I just wonder how much further up he goes, because there's recent update. Zion Ely, who was the on-3 number 1 edge rusher. He's now the Rivals number 1 edge rusher. And then Tony Jones is number 2. And then we also have Richard Wesley, who, technically I think he's technically at the same position.
He's certainly upgraded his standing. And, whenever we talk about the Man Eye Institute, it's like we just say, why are you settling for yesterday's LASIK whenever you upgrade your phone, your car, your coffee maker? It's the next level LASIK that they have at the Man Eye Institute. It's the first in Texas and only the second in the entire country to offer this groundbreaking, what they call it is the Wavelight Plus LASIK technology. So it's not your parents' LASIK. This is LASIK for the next generation at the Man Eye Institute. It doesn't just improve your vision. It's like they say it's like a fingerprint. It's the same. It's tailored like a fingerprint for your vision. Sharper vision, smarter technology, unmatched expertise, only at Man Eye Institute, where they've always led the way in innovation, and now they're doing it again with the next level LASIK. So make sure and check them out. 1-844-WOW-2020, 844-WOW-2020, or visit them at maneye.com. Thanks so much to those guys for being our presenting sponsor. And also thanks to our great friends at Texas Beef Traders. Make sure and go check them out this weekend. Go get some beef. Maybe celebrate some of these, maybe celebrate some of these commitments, man. Get 10% off when you mention that you heard about them on Orange Bloods Live. Again, right there off of Loman's Crossing and 620 in the heart of Lakeway. Cody, wrap it up. Do you have any good news from Texas? Because you have. So is Kru committing this? What is he committing? Because
Kru doesn't have a date. Kru does not have a date yet. Nor does Talon Mayo, who I predicted. But Derek Cooper, I'll just say really quickly, he was up at the Rivals 5-stars last week. He's the number 1 running back in America, 12th rank overall, 6'1", 200 out of Shamara Madonna. And he's a stud. I mean, he's a baller. I will say I Futurecast him to Miami, but this was at the overtime 7-on-7 event in Fort Lauderdale. He's all in Texas. So there's still time. There's still 160 days left. And then the final Futurecast I put in was positive. I went to 2027 for this one. Talon Mayo, he's a DB from Louisville, 6'4", 180 pounds, listed as a nickelback. All positive things about Texas. He's coming down to Texas and Oklahoma. And I didn't have a lot for Texas, but here's the thing. It's the calm before the storm. And summer showers will eventually bring fall flowers for the Texas Longhorns in the 2026 recruiting class. So stay tapped in, stay locked in here on Orange Bloods.